Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. The power fight over Texas Tech football has expanded to the federal level. The Big 12 Conference is now suing Attorney General Ken Paxton and Texas Tech leaders in federal court. That complaint claims Texas Tech plans to play quarterback Brennan Sorsby even after he admitted to making thousands of sports bets, including about 40 on his own team's games while he was at Indiana. The conference argues this goes directly against the rules and the values on gambling and integrity, and letting Sorsby play could damage trust in Big 12 games and hurt the league's reputation. The Big 12 is asking a federal judge to confirm that it can use its bylaws to punish Texas Tech as a school by holding back conference money or even blocking the Red Raiders from the Big 12 championship game if Sorsby plays this fall. In a video posted to social media last week, the administrators and coach Joey McGuire did not commit to playing Sorsby during the fall season, only that he would have the opportunity if he satisfied their expectations and followed the legal prescriptions for therapy from a state district judge. They claim keeping him on the football program is the best thing for him as a person so he can continue his recovery from clinical gambling addiction. KCBD News Channel 11's Dylan Villa is going to dig deeper into this complaint throughout the day. We will have updates in our later newscasts.